All right, we're up, mate. Sion Brinn, welcome to the podcast, mate. How are you?
All right, how you doing, man? It's been a long time since I've seen your face. Even longer since I used to race you.
I'm
What's going
sorry.
on?
I'm sorry. It's changed a little bit, hasn't it? Sorry. You look
Uh,
good, man. You look fit still. Like, what do you do to work out these days?
um, the almighty CrossFit, man. I enjoy myself doing that. I run a little bit,
You
CrossFit
do?
stuff, and I just keep active the
Yeah.
best I can.
Yeah.
My
Well,
fishing spots are a good mile walk each way in the soft sand, so that helps.
beautiful. I like
Yeah.
that. A little stress relief there. Well, listen, mate, you're just coming off the back of some more championships. You're the head coach at Indian River Community College there. Congratulations. What numbers are we at these days?
We just got our 48th consecutive on the men's side and 44th on the women's side, but I think it's the 41st consecutive on the women's side. So we're up there, man. We're 48 and 44.
I mean, it's crazy. It's obviously a program with a lot of history that's had a lot of contributors. A lot of incredible people have come through the program, but you're leading the program now. How long have you been the head coach there now?
Just finished up my ninth year at the championship, so I'm
Wow.
coming on to 9 full years of being there. I think you know this. I used to actually compete there way back in the early '90s as well. So
Mm.
I've been associated with the team for a very long time. But yeah, 9 years at the coaching rank now.
Wow.
So,
Well, let's go back into that a little bit in terms of how you got there then. So like when I knew you as a competitor, a sprinter, we used to race each other. You were one of the best in the world. I mean, you're Jamaican born, but then you went
mhm.
on to compete for Great Britain at some point. Talk to me about that transition just initially. When was that? When did that happen?
So that was back just after graduating from college. Actually, it's about 2 years after. So around 97 was the official time when I made the switch. I was competing for Jamaica, and then I think it was the end of summer in '97, and the decision had been thought about for a while, and I'd made contacts on both sides, Jamaica and Great Britain, and the timing was right, man. I was kind of, back then, Brett, we were in our mid 20s, and you think, that's when swimming ends. So I thought, if I'm gonna have any longevity in this, now's the time. So yeah,
Right.
1997, I made the switch, Great Britain, and I landed. Yeah, about 2 weeks after I made the decision, started getting to work right away.
Wow. I mean, you've obviously still got the Jamaican accent, so it's a huge part of who you are, your history, your upbringing. Talk to me about growing up in Jamaica.
Whew, geez, I could go on forever on that one. uh, well, actually, it's my accent has come back a little bit stronger because ever since I moved to Florida 9 years ago, I see a lot more Jamaicans, and occasionally I'll actually have friends that show up from Jamaica and
Mm,
come visit because it's a lot closer. It's only an hour's flight from Miami,
mm.
so every once in a while I'll see them. And I had the chance to get down to Jamaica very briefly a couple of weeks ago because my daughter is competing gymnastics. So I went down for the weekend, and it was kind of cool getting back to the roots of everything.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
absolutely. But like, how long? You were born in Jamaica. How long did you stay there until you made the venture over to America?
oh, geez. So, yeah, I was there all the way through high school. And
Hmm.
then at the time, just like you, when you're leaving high school, going off to college to compete. I left, and I would go back for all the holidays, summer, spring break, Christmas. And then as you get older and older over time, by the time you're a senior year, you're really only going back maybe for Christmas. And then with swimming becoming such a full-time sport, basically, I would have to say around the late '90s is when I really started not going. My dad passed away in 2000, just before Sydney Olympics. So that was kind of the closure of living in Jamaica.
Mm,
So
mm.
at that time, it was only to go back for a brief holiday. But that's when I started work here in America, and basically I've just stayed here ever since.
What about growing up in Jamaica? How did swimming become a part of your life? Swimming is not a huge sport in Jamaica. Obviously, it's track and field primarily, but for you, obviously, there was talent in swimming. How was that discovered?
I grew up on the beach, man. I grew up on the north coast, where all the tourist parts are. So I was in the water all the time. So they had the little K1s club stuff going on for the school stuff. back when I was younger. And when my dad moved us back to Kingston, the big city, he needed something for us to do. It's very hard. A single dad, he just needed something for us to do, kill a couple of hours. And, we found the swimming programs there. They have a pretty nice pool down there. It's old, but they have a pretty nice pool. And we already knew how to swim, me and my sister, pretty decent. So once we started on that, it just kind of took off, man. So we were doing it pretty much as our main sport from the age of, I'd say 8, 9 years old. And I did the whole water polo thing as well for a number of years. And then the opportunity to come to America to swim was kind of thrown at my feet forcefully.
What do you mean by that? Like, obviously you know, they had to notice you had to notice them. You end up at Indian River. How did that come about?
That was luck, actually. My sister was a little bit more into the swimming than I was. I was that rebellious kid in that 16, 17 age group. And my sister went off to America to compete in one of the, I think it was like a sectional or just a Grand Prix, like a senior champs or something.
Right.
And the coach at Indian River at the time, Chris Ip, he saw my sister, recruited her, and she went to Indian River the year before me. And when I say forcefully, I mean it slightly as a joke, but the opportunity for me to go came, and my dad pretty much bought a one-way ticket to college and said, "Don't screw this up," and it worked. So there you go.
Oh wow! Well, I mean, it's still a culture shock. You're from Jamaica, but you end up in Indian River. So what are the initial things that you had to come to terms with when you first get there?
Honestly, man, it was more the structure, the rigorous training. The set stuff. 2 hours each practice. 8 to 10 times a week. Morning practices. I'd never done any of that before, so that every afternoon deal was, it kicked me pretty good at first. I mean, I remember training one of the very first sets and just getting lapped all the time, getting in the way, and you got used to it. I was never in that kind of shape to do swimming for 2 hours a day. So that was the real shock to me. And then, the little stuff as well. You're in a new set of rules and cultures and, well, for that matter, language and things you eat, everything was different. But I adapted pretty quick. It wasn't too bad. And I had my sister there to take care of me as well.
Right. That's true too. Yeah. But I guess now looking back, you can kind of empathize with those kids that are coming from foreign countries now for you to compete, at Indian River. You can understand the challenges that they face now, huh?
Oh yeah. And that's one of the easier parts of communicating with the internationals when they come across. It's just letting them understand that I was going through it, so I have a good idea of what their fears and all that are. It's a lot different, 30 years ago than it is now when they're coming across, but it is still the same, homesick issues or missing friends or just a little bit of a culture shock. But with communication and the internet and all that, it makes it a little bit easier what I think a little bit easier than it was back in the day, instead of using a payphone on the corner of the dorms,
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, even back then, you guys were on a roll. You were winning championships back then. You come into it as a young kid, and part of the tradition of excellence is there. It's already established. So what was it for you as a swimmer? What did it look like then? And we can talk about what it looks like now, but like 30 years ago, there was still this tradition of excellence that was forming.
Yeah, I don't think the gravity of the whole thing was really on me at the time. At the time, I think we were going for 18th on the men's side, 18th and 19th. So that would have been my freshman year. And that, of course, was the big talk even then with the streak of consecutive wins. And so, you're just another 18, 19-year-old swimmer who's just joining a team that's pretty good, and you're trying to get your spots on relays and all the same stuff kids go through these days. It's hard for me to kind of bring back the emotion that I felt when I was there, but it was super exciting to know that you were part of something big, and it was going to help you in your life down the road. So it was a good little deal to deal with.
Yeah, well, I mean, as a former swimmer, as somebody that won championships for them, and now as a coach that's winning championships for Indian River. What is Indian River? Like, for those people that don't know anything about Indian River, like what is it that has made it so successful? Why are swimmers going there? Why are you proud to be the coach there? What is Indian River?
Indian River is a tradition, man. It's just a tradition. Yeah, every college has its own traditions. We've been trying to live up to not trying. We are living up to the traditions that have been passed on for 48, 50, almost 50 years. So, just the junior college, it's the start for a lot of people. It's an opportunity. It's just a great swimming place to be. The town, the beach, the traditions of winning, of hard work, of the cheering, just all sorts of little things that just kind of continue to get passed on from year to year. So some traditions will come and go, but ultimately, when you come to the river, you know that you hopefully will have your name on the one of the world's largest trophies, called the Wall, which has the names of every person that's competed for the team on a winning championship team. And it's just, it's on the side of a big auditorium wall. So that's pretty exciting to know that hopefully at the end of your year, you're going to get your name up there. So that's a goal of a lot of kids.
We individualize training in the pool, so why not individualize your nutrition? Erica Biney of Biney Wellness Building will help you and your swimmers get exactly what each athlete needs through genetic testing and personalized nutrition plans. So stop guessing what you should and shouldn't be putting into your body. Athletes within a few weeks have noticed they're recovering faster because they're fueling their body with what they need and staying away from what their body hates. Erica understands swimming. She gets it. She's worked with over 20 Olympians, including the fastest man in the world, Caleb Dressel. Group discounts are available, so go to Biney Wellness Building and get in touch with Erica today. That's Biney, Beine, wellnessbuilding.net. Well, we have a lot of international listeners on this podcast. So for those that don't fully understand what junior college means, what is junior college and how does it, why would athletes come to that as opposed to maybe going to a 4-year Division I school like Florida, Stanford, whatever?
So Indian River State College, it's called now. It used to be called Indian River Community College, and it changed about 10 years ago. All right. It still acts under the National Junior College Athletic Association. So while it might be a state college and offer 4-year programs, we still operate under the 2-year athletic part. So that's something that's new. A lot of people get confused by that.
Right.
But it is a good place to start for a couple of reasons. It's affordable if you're not getting a full-on scholarship. It is definitely one of the most affordable colleges to go to, and you get the athletics with it. It is sometimes a place where if you don't have the right academics to start off with, and you knew how it was with the TOEFL exams or the SATs, all that stuff. The junior college route, the eligibility requirements are a little bit more relaxed. That doesn't mean to say that every junior college is going to willingly accept somebody because they don't have great grades. That is not the case for us, and I'll openly say that. But it is a place that can be of a benefit if you've really struggled in passing those eligibility requirements, like you mentioned, a Florida, Auburn, any of the bigger schools out there. So it's a starting point, and it's a smaller class sizes, smaller college. You don't get lost in the 25, 30, 40,000 people at a bigger university. You get a small classes, smaller student body. So it just really helps kind of adjust you a little bit more quietly into the American way of things, I guess.
So the majority of these athletes, if not all of them, will swim for 2 years for you and then go on to kind of some other schools generally?
Yeah, that's generally the idea. Is we have them here, we bring them here, and our main goal is to get them to continue swimming and then carry on at a 4-year school. And that could be a top Division I school or any Division II, NAIA. We have them going just about anywhere that they're getting recruited to or where they sometimes choose to go to.
Right. Yeah. Well, from your point of view, from the head coaching point of view, how do you get athletes to come to you?
So in all honesty, it's a little bit of word of mouth from some parts of the world. We've had a good relation with South Africa and Sweden, to just name two of them. And usually, a friend of a friend just kind of carries on. Hey, their teammate went to us, and then we find out about them. You have good relationships with coaches that have sent swimmers to us before. Then obviously the regular recruiting tools that you use here in America. When you're trying to find kids that you want to have on your team, from the local high school meets all the way to the sectionals or Grand Prix or national championships. So
Right.
That's how it works.
For those that are listening out there, maybe as potential recruits, like what are you looking for in a recruit?
A good person. Got to be a good person. Self-discipline. Good academics, a good hard worker, and a good teammate. That's really what we really look for. Is just somebody that's going to fit into what we want as coaches and what we have as a team, and carry on the tradition. Because like we always say, and I always say, being on the River team is not a right in any way. It's a privilege. So we definitely want people that will kind of uphold to the standards that we are looking for.
Yeah. What about this then? In terms of your competitors, then they must be getting sick of you. Who is your competition, and how is it that you guys keep winning? As opposed, you'd think someone at some point would say, "All right, enough of this River stuff. Like, we got to put an end to these traditions. We got to put an end to this winning streak." Do you have legitimate competition that is coming after you in that respect?
Yeah, absolutely. I won't go into all the deep dark secrets of what we try to do, but no, there is definitely some competition. And if you look at results over the years, it kind of goes in waves. We've always managed to keep a pretty strong team consistent, and we will be challenged quite often. And definitely there are teams out there that are gunning for us all the time. And I think there's starting to be a rebuilding of the junior college athletics and the swimming side of things. I mean, it's some good competition coming along. If you look at the finals of some of the events, it's in some events it still might be quite a few Indian River athletes, but there could be just a very good mix of 2 people from each school going on in many of the events these days. So they're coming for us, and they always will, and that's the stressful part of the program. Is I have a tradition to hold on to, so we got to keep it going.
Yeah, I imagine that. I mean, having the pressure, and listen, I know all about having to swim in a program and then be the head coach.
Oh, yeah.
I know all about the tradition of pressure. So you must feel that then. So like, why take on a job like this? Why did you take it in the first place?
Oh, that's kind of getting into family stuff, which I don't mind sharing. I think, we were at a college my wife and I lived up in Dayton. We're there for 13 years, and we were getting a little tired of things. And, we wanted a chance to move on. And, when the opportunity struck, it was like, talk about, being in the right place, right time, and or right situation. And so job came up, and I told the wife, and that it was open, and she looked at me and said, "Hey, let's go try it and see what happens." And I came down. It took a while to make some decisions. If my boss is listening to this, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. and anyway, so we made the jump, and here we are, 9 years later, still going along pretty good. So
what about in terms of the pressure, like I talked about? I mean, obviously there's this tradition of excellence. You have a huge alumni base. Like, where do you feel pressure from taking this job now as a former athlete? Where's your pressure come from?
Probably from myself, a lot from myself. And you talk about alumni. Of course, all the alumni are expecting us to win every year. I keep in touch with a few. I've met quite a few over the years, but it's more the guys in my years that I communicate with the most. Anywhere between that 91 to 94 range. They check in with me all the time. So I don't feel pressure from them, but I definitely want to keep them happy. And there's not necessarily pressure from my employers, but the expectation is there that you do the job, and if you do the job, then you will continue the streak. So then it trickles down to me. I don't want to be the one that kind of messes it all up. So I do what I need to do and do it as well as I can, and hopefully keep it going. And if I'm here in 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years, then it'll be the same attitude even then.
Well, how do athletes afford to come to school there? Is there scholarships available? Anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, Brett, it's absolutely no different from any program around the country.
Okay.
The NJCAA does offer athletic scholarships, just like Division One, Division Two does. There are academic opportunities, mostly only for local, the county area.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to afford, I mentioned that earlier as well, it is a pretty affordable college to go to. I think our out-of-state tuition and housing and everything, still comes up to quite a lot less than many in-state colleges if you were from that state itself.
Right. What about in terms of study programs there? What's the common area of study maybe for a lot of your athletes?
Well, most of our guys are going to be in your fairly no, I shouldn't say general, but we got a lot of business and marketing and the math and the sciences.
Mm-hmm.
Any of our programs that we have here, you get the AA degree, and then they are transferable to any program here in the state of Florida. So basically, it's almost exactly like doing your freshman and sophomore year at any college anywhere, and the opportunity to stay if you wanted to. If your swimming career was done after 2 years and you wanted to stay, then you could actually finish off those programs here as well. So, but the big one really is in sort of that business area. But we do offer all the psychologies and the engineering, or at least the starting part of engineering, IT stuff. It's all here. And then, of course, if you're into the trades, that's what junior colleges were mostly known about. The trades. HVAC, automotive, welding, all that. Those are offered. We don't get a whole lot of students that will take on those educational progress there, but they do. There are a few that will come through every once in a while just to do them.
Right. I know you've had some incredible athletes just like yourself come through the program. In terms of alumni, are there any names that stand out that may be recognizable to the general public, people that have come through this program?
Yeah, I mean, more recently, we just actually inducted Taylor Lovemore into the Hall of Fame, the Junior College Hall of Fame, and she's a South African that went on from here to Florida State, and she's doing pretty well. I think she was in the ISL for a while, but she's a World University Games champion. And then probably the more recognizable ones these days would be Bratter Tandy, who I believe, he still does swim, and he swam for South Africa as well. He was an Olympic finalist. He's been to quite a few more Olympics as well, and he still swims. Everybody wants to mimic his start because he has one of the best starts around. So he came through here. And former alumni beyond there, you can go back as far as the early 80s. Even David Marsh, your former coach, used to come here at some point. So
David Marsh is an alumni. I know that for sure. And I tried to recruit Brad Tandy out of your program and failed. He ended up going to Arizona, but some incredible athletes have come through. So it's kind of like a springboard into greater success for a lot of these athletes. So.
And you're absolutely right. This has been a starting point and a springboard. Some of these guys will come here and have the opportunity to leave after a year, but our goal is to keep them around for 2. And some people will actually come here as walk-ons onto the program and eventually get pretty good and become very recruitable athletes. And I'm an example of that. I was a walk-on here and just managed to get a lot better and then go on to bigger and better things. But it is a springboard. It is a good place to start.
Yeah. What about for you and your coaches in terms of how do you stay at the forefront of coaching? How do you stay innovative? How do you grow as a coach and your assistants? How do you continue to be the best you can be?
I will freely admit that I'm one of these guys that tries to hold on to the past. I do believe that, hard work works. And, what I did as a sumo is really ultimately the base of what I do as a coach. Of course, I'm adapting to some of the newer ways. And one of the reasons for that is really because that's the way a lot of the younger coaches are going. So when we get our high school athletes coming in or our club sumos coming in, they're bringing with them the new stuff that some are, I'm not that old, but some of us older coaches are having to adapt to, I watch, Brett, used to watch when you used to do all your ideas box thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I get ideas from that stuff. You know, I listen to all the coaches, I see things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still pretty active myself in terms of trying to keep in shape, and I'll be doing something. I thought, that'll work for doing this. So I use my own experiences with it. And because I'm a little active as well, I can actually test it out myself to see what the benefit of it, rather than just watching some YouTube video to understand it. And that way I can explain it in my own words, I guess.
Right.
And you know, the other coaches are the same way. Sometimes, you know, I don't believe in, you know, garbage yardage. It's only garbage if you make it garbage, you know. But we do have to do that longer stuff every once in a while.
Right.
We do have to get that base work in. You know, 3100s. That one is starting to be lost a little bit, but it's I'm holding on to it as best I can, and I probably need to revamp it a little bit more and bring it back even more than I did in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But I stay somewhat innovative, but I definitely do hold on to the old hard work works stuff.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. It does. And no doubt about it. How many kids do you have in your program now? How many guys, how many girls? And is diving part of the program too?
Yeah. So it goes up and down. This year we actually had 25 guys and 25 girls. The biggest team I've coached in a while. 2 years ago and that was including divers. 2 years ago, I think we had 17 guys and 18 girls. So it just depends on the year and how many are graduating, how many we can bring in. But I try to average about 20 to 22 girls, 20 to 22 boys. That's a more ideal range for us to work with.
Yeah. Now, a former teammate of mine, good friend of mine, her daughter is actually swimming for you now. Ella Smith is there. Nicole Livingston is a friend of mine. And how'd she do this year, man?
She actually did pretty good in the end. Well, she did well all year, but that was one of those, I got to learn how to handle coaching, you know, somebody from a different country, different upbringing. I'd never had an Australian on my team, so I don't know if the training was that much different. But, you know, Ella, just like any individual that will have, you know, just has a way of training. And once you start to learn that, you realize you can get the best out of somebody by adapting a little bit to what their personalities are like. She is definitely a racer and produced at the end. So she was a pleasure to work with. And it was kind of weird. It makes me feel old, but I'm coaching the daughter of somebody I used to race against. So, you know, how does that work?
Yeah, she's got good genes. But listen, man, Australians are different. Australians are thoroughbreds. You know, they're just thoroughbreds.
I mean, here we go. Yeah.
Look at us. Like, we're built different from the get-go. You know that. We always
have a tattoo to cover that stuff up, man, don't you? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's starting to sag a little. No, I'm trying to keep it in shape. But that's cool, man. Like, it's just exciting for you. Like, I've known you as an athlete, and now I see you as a coach and having this success, man. I'm just so proud of you. I've never really kind of expressed that to you, but like, from looking from a distance, I know the pressure you're under. I've been there in some certain sense, and so to do what you're doing, man, it's cool, and you're having a huge effect on the swimming community. You know,
Thank you.
And the reason why I wanted to shine this light on you today is because I don't think enough people are really doing that. They don't know what you're doing, and they don't know about your program as much as maybe I do, because I've got some connections. We used to actually come down there and do summer training with Auburn.
Yeah,
You've
been here on a training trip while I was here too.
Yeah, beautiful place. I mean, great setup. In terms of just the access to things that you have, facilities, talk to us about those real quick.
So, you know, it's interesting because things are moving. We got a new president in that's really he's a businessman, he's a pusher, and he's out to get the best we can get. So we have a nice 50-meter pool that's quite old, but it's been revamped a couple of times to the point where it looks pretty new still. We have a big 50-meter pool and then a separate diving well. We are now partnered up with USA Diving, and not a lot of people know that, but USA Diving has now become, their base home is supposed to be at our college. And what's going to happen with that is eventually pretty soon, hopefully, we'll have a whole new facility in the making. We've seen some plans on what's supposed to be happening. It's just a matter of getting that, the hole dug first, you know. But we have all the facilities and the backing of our president through our athletic director, you know, to get the things that we need to train well. So if you look on our pool deck, we have all the toys that you need, from the power racks and power towers to the, everything you need. And we definitely want to keep at the forefront of what is needed to be the best in the world. And, small weight room, but I make it work. We got a gymnasium right beside, we make it work. And it's a developing and continuously developing program that we have here.
Yeah, you got a 50-meter pool. You got a separate, you got a separate diving well and 25-yard pool separate too, right?
Yeah. It's actually one of them L-shaped pools where you have the diving part, and then you have 6-lane 25-yard as well.
Right.
And then our pool goes from 8-lane 50-meter all the way to 20-lane short course yards. So, we got a big old facility, and we'll train long course and short course in the same day, and have enough room to have everybody have their own lane if we wanted it to.
Right. Yeah. Well, listen, man, we want to keep this tradition of excellence going.
Yeah.
So what's the best way for them to reach out to you? If they're listening today, how can they get in contact with you?
sbrinn@irsc.edu. That's my email address. Just go ahead and drop a line. That's the easiest way to do it.
And then your website, if they want to find more information?
Yeah, it's you caught me off guard with that one, man. But it's irsc.edu. And if you just find the athletics tab on there, you should be fine.
Cool. All right. We'll put this in the show notes too. So if anyone's interested, we'll have your email in the show notes. They can click on that. We'll put up the website on the show notes too, so they can look for information. Man, listen, man, congratulations. You're doing an awesome job. Keep it up. Do you get a break now after the championship or what?
Yeah, sort of. Us coaches 24/7. I was even reminded of that one time. I'm on spring break now. I already went into the office for a couple hours this morning, but I'm at home and I got home chores to do. So, in addition to picking up the kids and shuttling them all over the place, I'm doing some landscaping today.
Oh, that's it. That's the way to keep fit, man. Stay active that way. Well, well, appreciate it, man. Thanks for giving us a bit of time today. We'll put this out, get the word out on what you're doing and how you're doing it. Congratulations again, man, and keep it going. Okay.
I appreciate that, Brett. Good catching up with you. Good work with all this stuff, and it's been nice. It's a pleasure on my side having seen you grow up as well, from being a swimmer back when you were pretty young, all the way through the Olympics and college and onto the coaching stuff, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
I still remember quite a few of our races together as well. So.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The ones, most of those I won, didn't I?
Not the hundreds.
You're right. None of those I won. I know that for sure. Just quickly, again, where is Indian River exactly? Like for those that are looking for it on the map, where is it?
So if you look on the east coast of Florida, all right, you'll see that Florida goes sort of directly north, and then it starts tilting a little bit to the northwest. We are just above that north of Palm Beach. So we're in a place called Fort Pierce, Florida. It's about an hour's north of Palm Beach on the east coast.
Right.
About halfway up from Miami to Jacksonville.
That's it, man. Who wouldn't want to live there? Paradise on earth. So, let's get you some more recruits. Let's keep this thing going. Congrats, man, and enjoy the day with your family, all right?
All right, you too, man. All the best. Take care,
See you, Sean. Yeah, man.
Swim Angelfish. Swim Angelfish is an online certification program that strengthens your teaching curriculum to serve swimmers of all abilities. Swim Angelfish will prepare you and your instructors with the skills to teach swimmers with autism, physical disabilities, anxiety, sensory and motor conditions, and more. Learn to teach skills faster and with more comfort with Swim Angelfish. Apply for an Only Alpha Pool Product Scholarship and receive up to 50% off your certification. Go to swimangelfish.com today to apply.